Okay, I want you to try something for me right now. Wherever you are, on the treadmill, in the car, doing dishes, just pause for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Look at your hand. I mean, really look at it. Flex your fingers, touch the steering wheel or the counter. It feels solid, right?
It feels real.
It feels real. It feels like this is the baseline. This is home.
That's the fundamental assumption of human existence, isn't it? What we see is what is real.
What if it's not? What if that nagging feeling you sometimes get, that sense of alienation, like you walked into a movie halfway through and you don't know the plot? Or that feeling that the world is just fundamentally, well, broken. What if that isn't just anxiety? What if it's actually a suppressed memory?
A memory of what?
That you don't belong here, that you're actually a prisoner of war in a cosmic facility designed specifically to keep you asleep.
And that is the hook, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is the primal prison break.
Exactly. The primal prison break. Because today, we are not talking about history as it's, usually taught in school. We aren't talking about the winners who wrote the textbook.
Though this is the stuff that was left out. Intentionally.
We are digging into the files that were burned, banned, and buried. We are doing a deep dive into Gnosticism and Western esotericism.
And we really have to be clear about the stakes here. I mean, we aren't just talking about a different denomination of religion or a slightly different take.
Not at all.
We are talking about a worldview that claims the reality we touch, taste, and see isn't just flawed, it's a crime scene. It's a cosmic mistake. A trap.
And to help us navigate this labyrinth, we have a serious stack of sources. We've got a deep analysis of the Nag Hammadi library.
Those are the secret texts found in a jar in Egypt, yeah.
Exactly. They basically rewrote our understanding of early Christianity. We're looking at the Sethian creation myth, which is, it's a sci-fi horror movie written in the 2nd century.
It really, really is. And, we're also looking at the Mandaeans, a group that most people have never heard of, but they are the living link.
The living link. I love that.
They claim to be the enemies of Jesus, but the best friends of John the Baptist, and they are still around today. It's incredible.
And to keep us from floating away completely, we have a critique from the Catholic perspective, specifically Bishop Robert Barron, who calls this the enduring heresy.
Right, to give us that other side of the argument.
Plus some scholarly work from Wouter Hanegraaff on what exactly Western esotericism even means. It's a tricky term.
It is. So we have the myth, the history, the survivors, and the critics, the whole package.
So the mission today is simple but heavy. We want to understand this rejected knowledge. Why did people 2,000 years ago decide the world was a dungeon?
And maybe more importantly, why do these ideas keep popping up in everything from the Matrix and Star Wars to modern conspiracy theories?
It's the ultimate red pill conversation.
It really is.
So let's unpack this. Section 1, the cosmic accident.
Right. And to understand Gnosticism, you have to throw out your standard Sunday school definitions. You have to reboot your theological operating system.
Okay, definition time. We throw this word around all the time. Gnosis. It's Greek. It translates to knowledge. But we aren't talking about book smarts here, are we?
No, not at all. The Greeks had a word for book smarts. Episteme. That's data. That's knowing the capital of France or, how to fix a carburetor.
Facts and figures.
Facts and figures. Gnosis is completely different. It is direct, experiential insight. Think of it this way. You can read a biography of a famous person and know about them. That's episteme.
Okay.
But if you meet them, look them in the eye, shake their hand, and have a real conversation. That's gnosis.
Ah, okay. So it's the difference between reading a map and actually standing on the mountain.
That's a perfect way to put it. In this context, gnosis isn't something you learn. It's something you remember.
Yeah.
It's waking up. It's that sudden shocking realization. I am not who I thought I was.
And then we have this other term that gets thrown around a lot in the same circles, esotericism.
Right. Esoteric comes from the Greek esoteros, meaning inner. And that immediately implies a binary. There is exoteric religion. That's the public stuff.
The stuff for everyone.
Exactly. The church service, the hymns, the public prayers. It's for the masses. It's accessible.
The safe version.
You could say that, yeah. But esotericism is the inner knowledge. It's reserved for the elite, the initiated, the few who have, passed the tests.
So it implies the public story is just a cover.
It implies that the public story is a simplified fable for the sleepwalkers. But the real mechanics of the universe, the deep truths, Those are hidden.
And this usually comes with a specific view of the world, right? We've talked about this before, the idea of an enchanted versus a disenchanted world.
Yes, absolutely. The modern scientific view is fundamentally disenchanted. Matter is dead. It's just atoms bouncing around according to physical laws.
A giant machine.
A giant, meaningless machine. Esotericism, on the other hand, sees an enchanted world. Everything is alive. Everything is connected by invisible threads. Symbols matter. Dreams matter. The universe is speaking to you, if you know the code.
Okay, so we have the terms. Gnosis is the wake-up call. Esotericism is the secret club where they teach the code. Now let's get into the story itself.
The great drama.
The Sethian Gnostic myth. This comes primarily from a text called the Apocryphon of John, the secret book of John. And I have to say, reading it, this is not Genesis. This is something else entirely.
It creates a completely different context for why we are here, why anything exists at all. In the Sethian view, everything starts with the monad, or the invisible spirit.
The monad. It sounds like something from a physics textbook, not a religious text.
It's deeply philosophical. This deity is so transcendent, so pure, that you can't even say it exists in the way we exist. It's beyond time, beyond being, beyond description.
So no white beard, no throne, no lightning bolts.
Nothing like that. It is pure, silent light. It's not a god among other gods. It is the source of all possibility itself. Pure potentiality.
And from this monad, this source, reality starts to cascade down. Is that the idea?
That's the image they use.
Yeah.
Imagine a fountain of light that just keeps overflowing. These emanations, these overflows are called eons.
Eon.
They are divine entities, aspects of the monad's infinite mind. So you have Bargillo, who is the first thought.
Yep.
You have autogenes, self-begotten, and they're paired off in male-female couples called syzygies.
Like a divine family tree.
A very complex one. And together, this whole hierarchy of light beings forms the pleroma.
The pleroma. That means the fullness, right? In Greek.
The fullness, it's the realm of perfection. It's where we are all supposed to be. Everything is harmonious. Everything is balanced. It's a symphony of light. It's flawless.
Until someone goes off script, there's always that one character who breaks the rules.
In this cosmology, that character is Sophia.
Sophia. Wisdom.
Yes. Sophia means wisdom. She is the youngest of the eons, the furthest away from the source. And because she's at the edge, she experiences a kind of crisis. She develops a desire. She wants to create. She wants to bring forth something like herself.
Which, to a modern ear, sounds fine. Creativity is a good thing. Why is this a problem?
It's a problem because in the pleroma, creation is a communal act. It's based on harmony. You're supposed to create with your male counterpart, your syzygy, and with the consent of the invisible spirit.
And Sophia does neither.
She does neither. She acts alone. She acts out of a kind of desperate autonomy, or maybe you'd call it pride. She wants to produce something that is solely hers.
It's an act of ego, then. I don't need the collective. I can do this myself.
Exactly. And because she bypasses the harmony of the pleroma, because she acts in this passionate isolation, the result is disastrous.
She doesn't create a beautiful new light being.
She produces a monstrosity. The text says it was imperfect, different from her appearance. It was a lion-faced serpent.
Stop there for a second. A lion-faced serpent. That is such a vivid, terrifying image. It's primal.
It is. It's meant to be. It represents raw, chaotic power, the lion combined with the sneaky, low cunning of the serpent. But it has no wisdom, has no connection to the source. The text says his eyes flashed with fire.
And Sophia is horrified.
She is absolutely horrified. She looks at this thing she made, this abortion of the spirit, and she's ashamed. She knows she's made a terrible mistake.
So she tries to hide the evidence, like anyone would.
She casts him out of the pleroma. She creates a luminous cloud to hide him so the other immortals won't see her error, and she names him Yaldabaoth.
Yaldabaoth, the child of chaos, also known as the demiurge, right?
Right, the craftsman, or another name for him is Saklas, which means the fool. And here is where the cosmic tragedy really begins. Yaldabaoth wakes up in the dark. He is alone.
And this is key, he's not powerless.
No. This is the crucial point. He has unwittingly stolen a little bit of his mother's power. That divine light from Sophia is trapped inside him. So he has the power to create, but he has the mind of a monster.
Or he's a toddler with a nuclear weapon.
That is a perfect analogy. And so he starts building. He creates the material world. He creates the planets, the earth, the sun, all physical matter. He creates his own retinue of demons, which he calls the archons, the rulers. He builds this intricate cage that we now call the universe.
And then he has his defining moment, the moment of ultimate hubris, of ultimate ignorance.
He looks at his creation, this pale, twisted imitation of the pleroma. And he shouts out to his minions, "I am a jealous God, there is no other God beside me."
Wait, hold on, that's a quote.
It is.
That is from the book of Exodus. That is Yahweh. That is the God of the Old Testament speaking to Moses on the mountain.
And that is the Gnostic bombshell, the big twist. They're looking at the Bible, they're reading the Old Testament,
Yeah.
looking at the God who gets angry, who demands obedience, who drowns the world in a flood, who orders the destruction of cities.
All these things that are hard to reconcile with an all-loving Father.
Right. And they are saying, that is not the true Father, that is not the monad, that is Yaldabaoth.
That is, I mean, talk about flipping the script. It's the ultimate retcon. So they're saying the God of the Bible isn't lying, per se. He's just insane. Or ignorant.
Ignorant, delusional. He says there is no other God because he literally doesn't know about the monad and the pleroma above him. He's trapped in his own little bubble of creation, thinking he's the king of everything.
And because the creator is flawed, the creation is flawed.
Fundamentally and irrevocably flawed.
This explains the why. You mentioned earlier we need to ask why they came up with this. It's a direct answer to the problem of evil, isn't it?
It is the most efficient answer to the problem of evil ever invented. The classic question, if God is all good and all powerful, why do babies get cancer? Why do earthquakes happen?
Right.
The Christian answer is complex. It involves free will, the fallen nature of man, divine mystery. The Gnostic answer is brutally simple. The world sucks because the guy who built it was an idiot.
The architect was incompetent.
Worse than incompetent. He was malicious.
Yeah.
He created this world not as a garden for us to flourish in, but as a system of control. A dungeon.
But, and here's the prison break part. We aren't just made of his mud, are we? There's something else in us.
No. This is the crucial plot point that gives us hope. When Yaldabaoth and his archons created Adam, the first human, they were trying to trap the light. But Sophia, from above, tricked them. Yaldabaoth unwittingly breathed some of that stolen power, that light from his mother, into the human.
The divine spark.
The divine spark. So a human being, in the Gnostic view, is a walking contradiction. We have a body of death created by the demiurge, crafted from matter, a biological prison. But locked inside that prison is a fragment of the pleroma, a piece of the true God.
And the demiurge Yaldabaoth, he knows this.
He fears it. He knows that that tiny spark of light in you is more powerful than his entire kingdom. So he and his archons spend all their time trying to keep you asleep. They create distractions.
Distractions like what? What kind of things?
Everything. War, politics, money, sex, fear, anxiety, but especially religion. To a Gnostic, worshiping the Creator God, following the law of Moses, obeying the commandments, is the ultimate trap.
Because you're worshiping the warden.
You're worshiping the warden. It keeps you compliant in the prison. It makes you love your cage.
So salvation isn't about being good. It's not about moral behavior or following a set of rules.
Not at all. Salvation is gnosis. It is that intellectual and spiritual explosion of waking up. It is realizing, I am not this body. I am not this name. I am not this job. I am a being of light trapped in a strange land, and I need to go home.
It's a rescue mission. But we can't get out on our own. I mean, the walls are too high. We've been asleep too long. We need help from the outside.
We need a message from the pleroma. We need a revealer to come down into the prison.
Which brings us to section 2, Jesus the Revealer. But this isn't the Jesus of the crucifix in the manger that most people are familiar with.
No. This is the Sethian Jesus. And to meet him, we have to go back to those books found in that jar in the desert.
The Nag Hammadi Library. Let's just set the scene briefly. 1945, Upper Egypt. It's basically like a scene from Indiana Jones, but with local peasants digging for fertilizer.
It is always peasants digging for fertilizer. And one of them, his hoe, hits something hard, a sealed earthenware jar. They break it open, hoping for gold or, some kind of treasure. Instead, they find 13 leather-bound books, codices.
And these weren't just random books. These were the books that the early Orthodox Church, the winners of that war of ideas, had hunted down and ordered to be burned. These were the forbidden files.
It is an absolute miracle they survived. Someone 1,600 years ago, likely a monk from a nearby monastery who couldn't bear to destroy them, hiked up into the cliffs and buried them.
And because of that dry Egyptian air, we can read them today. And the superstore of that collection is the Gospel of Thomas.
Without a doubt.
I spent some time with the Gospel of Thomas for this deep dive. And if you go in expecting a story, you're going to be so confused. It doesn't say, and then Jesus went to Galilee and healed a man. It's nothing like that.
No narrative whatsoever. No birth, no death, no crucifixion, no miracles. It is 114 logia, sayings Jesus said. That's it. It feels much closer to Eastern philosophy, like Zen koans or the Tao Te Ching, than the New Testament Gospels.
Let's look at some of the themes because they really highlight this Gnostic worldview. One that just jumped out at me was the idea of immanence, the divine being right here, right now.
Yes, Logion 3 is the classic example. Jesus says, "If those who lead you say to you, 'See, the kingdom is in the sky,' then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, 'It is in the sea,' then the fish will precede you."
Chuckles. I love that image. It's so sarcastic. Sorry, the seagulls got to heaven first. You lose.
He's mocking the very idea of it being a physical location somewhere else.
Yeah.
He goes on, "Rather, the kingdom is inside you, and it is outside you."
It's a state of consciousness.
Exactly. It's here now. You just need the eyes to see it. You need the gnosis to perceive it.
And then there's this weird, almost mystical vibe of panpsychism, the idea that God is literally in everything. Logion 77 says, "Split a piece of wood and I am there. Lift up the stone and you will find me there."
That is profound, and it's profoundly different from the Orthodox view. In Orthodoxy, God is the creator, separate from his creation. He is holy, which means set apart.
The transcendent God.
Here, Jesus is collapsing that distance. The divine presence is in the firewood. It's under the rock you're about to move. It breaks down the barrier between the holy and the mundane.
But then we hit the rough patches, and we have to talk about the gender stuff, because it's
Yeah.
jarring. Specifically Logion 114, the very last saying in the book.
The controversial one, yes.
So Simon Peter, who is always the bad guy in these texts, just constantly getting it wrong.
He represents the Orthodox establishment here. He's the gatekeeper, the literalist.
He says, "Let Mary leave us, for women are not worthy of life," which is just awful.
It's a terrible thing to say.
And Jesus's response, well, it's a lot, he says. "I myself shall lead her in order to make her male, so that she too may become a living spirit resembling you males. For every woman who will make herself male will enter the kingdom of heaven."
Yeah, that lands with a thud in the 21st century. Make yourself male.
It sounds incredibly sexist. My first reaction was, what on earth is this?
It does.
Yeah.
And on the surface, it is. But we have to decode the ancient philosophical language they were using.
Yeah.
In that time, in many Greek and Hellenistic philosophies, female was often symbolic of matter, the earth, reproduction, decay, division, multiplicity.
Right.
And male was symbolic of spirit unity, permanence, the intellect, the one.
So he's not talking about a biological sex change. He's speaking in code.
He's speaking metaphorically about non-dualism. He's saying that Mary, and by extension everyone, male or female, needs to transcend their biological, reproductive, material nature to become a unified spiritual being. It's about erasing the binary, as he says in another Logion, making the two one.
It's still a rejection of the body, though, isn't it? It's saying the body is female matter bad, the spirit is male mind good.
Absolutely. There's no getting around that. Gnosticism is fiercely anti-body. And that brings us to their view of the crucifixion. Because if the body is a prison made by the enemy, the Savior cannot possibly be trapped in one.
This is the concept of Docetism, right?
Right. From the Greek dokein, which means to seem or to appear. The Gnostics argued that because matter is evil, created by the monster god, the true Savior from the pleroma could not be made of meat and bone. He only appeared human.
Like a hologram or a divine projection.
Exactly, a divine projection. In some texts, it says he walked on the sand but left no footprints. He ate but didn't digest. He was a phantom.
So when the Romans nail him to the cross,
They are nailing a ghost. They're attacking an illusion. There's a scene in the Apocryphon of John and another text called the Second Treatise of the Great Seth, where the true Christ is hovering above the cross, looking down at the crucifixion scene. And do you know what he's doing?
I have a feeling it's not weeping.
He's laughing.
It's laughing.
He is laughing at their ignorance. The archons and the Romans and the religious authorities think they are killing God, but they are just attacking an illusion they can't comprehend.
Wow. That completely dismantles the entire foundation of mainstream Christianity, doesn't it? If he doesn't actually die, there is no sacrifice. There is no blood of the lamb that washes away sin.
No atonement, no resurrection of the flesh. In Gnosticism, you aren't saved by Jesus' death. You are saved by his life, specifically his teaching. He didn't come to die for your sins. He came to drop off the instruction manual for the prison break.
He's the secret agent who smuggles in the mat.
The code. And once you have the code, you don't need the cross. The cross is just a piece of scenery in the prison yard.
Now, usually when we talk about ancient heresies, we're talking about dead things. They're like fossils in a museum. But there is a group, a single thin thread that has survived from antiquity to right now.
The living connection. The Mandaeans.
This was the part of the research that really surprised me. I had honestly never heard of them before this deep dive.
Most people haven't. And it's a tragedy because their story is incredible. They are a very small ethno-religious group, historically concentrated in the marshlands of southern Iraq and Iran.
And their name, Mendayan, it comes from Manda, right?
Yes, which is Aramaic for knowledge or gnosis. They are literally the knowers.
So these are the last surviving Gnostics from that ancient world.
Yes, they are the only Gnostic sect from late antiquity that has maintained a continuous, unbroken tradition to the present day. It's astonishing.
And their origin story is intense. They claim to be the Nestorians.
Right. Their whole origin myth is an Exodus story, but it's an Exodus from Jerusalem. They despise Jerusalem. They view it as the city of sin, the stronghold of the evil creator god who they call Adonai.
So just like the Scythians, they think the Jewish god is the villain.
They do. But here's the paradox. Their culture is deeply Semitic. Their sacred language is a dialect of Aramaic, very close to the language Jesus himself spoke. They revere biblical figures like Adam, Seth, Noah, and Shem.
But not all of them.
No, they demonize Moses and Abraham. They see them as prophets of the wrong God. It's like a bitter family feud that has lasted 2,000 years.
And speaking of family feuds, let's talk about Jesus.
Oh, they have strong feelings about Jesus,
They call him the false Messiah.
the lying prophet.
Mm.
In Mandaean texts, Jesus is consistently portrayed as a traitor. They claim he was originally a Mandaean, or at least a disciple of John the Baptist, who went rogue.
He went rogue. What does that mean?
They say he took their secret wisdom, the Mandae, and he watered it down. He distorted it, made it easier for the masses, and used it to start his own celebrity cult.
So they think he sold out, he commercialized the truth.
Exactly. They view Christianity as a dangerous corruption of the pure teaching. But they revere John the Baptist.
John is the hero of their story.
He is their greatest prophet. They see themselves as the true, faithful disciples of John. And you can see it in their central ritual, baptism, or Mazbuta, as they call it.
But this isn't, get dunked once and you're saved for life.
No, not at all. For Mandaeans, the material world is a dirty place, spiritually dirty. Every time you interact with the world, every time you have sex, or touch a dead body, or even just live your life, you pick up spiritual grime. So you need to wash it off constantly.
And it has to be living water. That's a specific requirement.
It has to be flowing water, a river. They call every river a Jordan. So for them, the Tigris River in Iraq is a Jordan. The Euphrates is a Jordan. Any flowing body of water can be used for this cleansing.
I want to pause on that image for a second. Imagine the marshlands of Iraq. I mean, it's a conflict zone. It's been ravaged by war for decades. And yet there are these people in white robes silently walking into the river, dipping themselves under the water, trying to wash off the stain of the demiurge.
It's an incredibly powerful testament to the durability of belief. They're trying to maintain spiritual purity in a world they believe is fundamentally corrupt from top to bottom.
And they do this because they are terrified of what happens when they die. The afterlife is a major concern.
The afterlife. This is where the Gnostic worldview gets really, really scary. In the Mandaean view, when your soul leaves your body, it doesn't just float up to the world of light. It has to navigate a terrifying obstacle course.
The watch houses.
The Mataratha. Watch houses, or cosmic detention centers. They are stationed between Earth and the world of light, like checkpoints on a celestial highway.
And they are guarded. This isn't an easy passage.
Guarded by demons and archons. When the soul arrives at a watch house, it is interrogated. Did you lie? Did you steal? Did you give charity? Did you perform the rituals correctly? It's like a cosmic customs inspection, but if you fail, you don't just get sent back. You get tortured. You get detained in purgatory for ages.
So the funeral rituals for them aren't just about saying goodbye to a loved one. They are about practical spiritual support.
Correct. The Massacre, the Mass of the Souls. It's a series of complex rituals and sacred meals that the community on Earth performs. They believe it generates a kind of spiritual fuel to help the departing soul boost past the demons and clear the checkpoints.
It's a collective effort to smuggle one prisoner out of the jail.
That's exactly what it is.
It's fascinating. But obviously the Mandaeans are a tiny group today. The Scythians are gone. The Gnostics, for the most part, lost the war for the soul of the West.
Which brings us to Section 4, the War of Ideas.
And it was a war, not with swords, but with scrolls and sermons.
It was an intellectual cage match for the future of religion. And the heavyweight champion for the Orthodox side was a bishop named Irenaeus of Lyons.
Bishop Barron brings him up constantly in his critique. Irenaeus wrote this massive 5-volume work called Against Heresies. It was basically a takedown piece on Gnosticism. What was his main beef with them?
He identified 3 deadly errors that he believed would destroy the faith. First, the nature of God. Gnosticism splits God into 2, the good, transcendent spirit and the bad, ignorant creator.
Right.
Irenaeus argued, no, there is only one God. The God who painted the sunset and made the mountains is the same God who sent Jesus. You cannot sever creation from redemption. To do so is to make reality schizophrenic.
If you do, you lose the foundation of everything. The world becomes an evil illusion.
Right. Second, and this is huge, was the body. Gnostics said the body is a tomb, a prison.
Hmm.
Irenaeus argued that God created the physical world and called it good. And the ultimate proof of matter's goodness was the incarnation.
God became flesh.
Meat. The Word was made flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Irenaeus' point was, if God himself was willing to wear a human body to sweat, to bleed, to get hungry, to digest food, then matter cannot be evil. He famously said the glory of God is a human being fully alive.
Not a human spirit escaping the body, but a human integrated and alive, body and soul together.
Exactly. And the third point, this is the one Bishop Barron really leans into in his modern critique, elitism versus universality. Gnosticism is inherently elitist. It is for the adepts. It's for the smart kids. It's for the people who figured out the puzzle. It's a country club religion.
I know something you don't know. It has that vibe.
A very strong vibe of that. Orthodoxy, Irenaeus argued, is Catholic. And that word comes from the Greek kataholos, meaning according to the whole, universal. He said Christianity is publica. The truth isn't hidden in a secret code. It is shouted from the rooftops. It is for the peasant, the child, the uneducated, just as much as it is for the scholar.
It's a public utility versus a secret society.
That's a great way to put it, yes.
Barron also mentions a guy named Marcion. He wasn't exactly a Gnostic in the myth-making sense, but he was part of the same general vibe, this rejection of the material world's creator.
Marcion was a wealthy ship owner in the 2nd century, and he was sort of the cancel culture of the ancient world. He read the Old Testament and was absolutely horrified by the violence and the jealousy of God, so he decided to just delete it.
He literally took scissors to the Bible.
He literally did. He threw out the entire Old Testament, and he went through the New Testament and cut out anything that sounded too Jewish or referenced the Creator God in a positive way. He ended up with a heavily mutilated version of the Gospel of Luke and some of the letters of Paul.
And the church's reaction was?
Absolutely not. They excommunicated him and rejected his ideas flat out. They insisted on the continuity. They said, you cannot understand Jesus without Moses. It's one story.
So the church won, the Gnostics were pushed underground, the books were buried in the jar, but ideas are hard to kill.
You can burn books, but you can't burn an impulse. And the Gnostic impulse, that desire for secret knowledge, that feeling of being an alien here, it just went into the dustbin of history.
Section 5, esotericism defined in the dustbin of history.
Right. Wouter Hanegraaff, the scholar we mentioned, he calls Western esotericism the Academy's dustbin. It's a category created by scholars after the Enlightenment to hold everything that they didn't know what to do with.
So science said, that's superstition. And mainstream religion said, that's heresy. And all the leftovers got swept into a box labeled esotericism.
Pretty much. Alchemy, astrology, magic, Kabbalah, Rosicrucianism, Freemasonry, Theosophy. It's this big, messy grab bag of rejected knowledge. But scholars like Antoine Fèvre tried to find a pattern. He came up with a kind of checklist for what makes something esoteric.
I love a good checklist. How do we know if we're looking at something esoteric?
Okay, so first, and most important, correspondences. The idea of as above, so below.
What does that actually mean?
It means the universe is a hall of mirrors. The macrocosm and the microcosm reflect each other. So the position of the planet Mars in the sky corresponds to and affects the iron in your blood and your warlike tendencies. The lines on your palm map your destiny. Everything is connected by invisible threads.
Okay, so correspondences. Second.
Living nature. The cosmos isn't a dead machine. It's not a clockwork mechanism like the Newtonians thought. It is an organism. It breathes. It has a soul. The earth itself is alive. Imagination and mediations. And this isn't imagination like let's play pretend. It's the imaginal realm, a real place between the physical and the purely divine. And you use tools, tarot cards, rituals, chanting, complex symbols, angels, spirits, to build a bridge, a ladder, to get to the divine.
You need mediators. You can't just go straight to the top.
Exactly. And finally, number 4, transmutation.
Alchemy. Turning lead into gold.
Yes, But not just turning lead into gold to get rich. That's the exoteric or public understanding. The esoteric goal is turning the lead of your soul, your ignorant, base self, into the gold of the spirit. It's about radical self-transformation, becoming divine.
So we can trace this line. Gnosticism officially dies out in the ancient world, but its DNA survives. It pops up in Renaissance Hermeticism with figures like Ficino. Then you get the Rosicrucians in the 1600s, then Madame Blavatsky and Theosophy in the 1800s, and finally, it all flows into the New Age movement.
It's the same river, just flowing through different historical landscapes. The core ideas remain.
Which leads us to the final and maybe most important question, Section 6. Why does this matter now? Why are we doing a deep dive on this in 2026? It's not just an academic exercise.
No, because Bishop Barron calls it the enduring heresy. He argues that Gnosticism never really went away because it appeals to two very deep, very powerful human needs.
Okay, what are they?
First, the intellectual need. It solves the problem of evil in a very neat and tidy way. If the world is bad and full of suffering, it's because a bad God made it. It's a clean answer. No messy paradoxes.
It makes sense of a chaotic world.
But the second need is psychological.
Yeah.
And maybe more powerful. We love being special.
Big inner circle.
We love the idea of the red pill. The idea that everyone else is a sheep, everyone else is a normie. But I know the truth. I have seen the code. That is an incredibly seductive ego boost.
And we see this everywhere in pop culture. It's amazing. Once you have the key, you see it everywhere. Barron mentions Star Wars.
Star Wars is pure Gnosticism for kids. The Force. It's a pervasive spiritual energy that runs through everything. The Jedi. They're the Gnostic elect. They're a tiny group of adepts who have special powers because they have gnosis of the Force.
And remember Yoda's line to Luke. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter.
That is straight out of the Sethian playbook. I am not this body. This body is just a crude vessel. It's perfect Gnosticism.
And of course, The Matrix.
The Matrix is the ultimate Gnostic movie. It's not even an allegory. It's just the Gnostic myth updated for the digital age.
The world you see is a prison.
The Matrix.
Created by evil archons.
And machines.
To harvest your energy and keep you asleep in a pod.
Right. And you need a revealer, a messenger from outside like Morpheus or Neo, to wake you up to the desert of the real. It's a one-to-one mapping.
It fits perfectly. But Barron goes deeper than just movies. He links this ancient way of thinking to how we view ourselves today. He calls it the culture of self-invention.
This is where it gets a bit provocative, but the argument is powerful. Barron argues that the modern definition of identity is fundamentally Gnostic.
How so? Break that down.
Look at how we talk about the self. We say things like, I feel like a woman trapped in a man's body, or I am not my age, or I can be whatever I identify as. The core assumption behind all of those statements is that the real me is the invisible inner spirit, the mind, the will.
And the body is just a costume.
It's costume. It's raw material. It's meat.
Yeah.
And I can change it, drug it, perform surgery on it, or just ignore it to make it match my inner will.
That's the Gnostic hierarchy. Spirit is superior to matter. The inner self is more real than the outer body.
Exactly. Whereas the biblical view and the biological view, frankly, is that you are your body. Your body and soul are an integrated unit. You can't just edit your biology like it's a WordPress site. Your body tells a story about who you are.
He also makes this fascinating connection to the structure of modern conspiracy theories.
This, for me, was a brilliant insight. If you look at the structure of any major conspiracy theory, whether it's QAnon or Flat Earth, or even certain forms of extreme Marxism that he mentions, it is identical to the Gnostic myth.
Okay, break that down. What are the steps?
Step 1, the official story, the news, the science, the book of Genesis is a lie. It's propaganda.
Okay.
Step 2, this lie is maintained by powerful shadowy rulers, the deep state, the global elites, the mainstream media, the archons.
Right, the villains.
Step 3, they do this to keep you asleep, controlled, and compliant, to farm you for your energy or your money. Step 4, only we, the conspiracy theorists, the Gnostics, have the secret knowledge, the gnosis that reveals the truth.
And step 5.
Step 5, once you wake up, once you take the red pill, you are elite. You are free. You are one of the enlightened few.
Wow. It's the same story. So whether you are talking about Yaldabaoth in the 2nd century or the global cabal on Twitter, we're telling the exact same story.
It's the same software running on different hardware. That prison break narrative is hardwired into the human psyche. We want to believe there is a secret door out of the frustrations of ordinary life.
So we've traveled from the Pleroma all the way to the Euphrates River, from the secret sayings of Jesus to George Lucas. It's a lot to process.
It is, But I think it really boils down to a fundamental human question, a choice you have to make. Do we belong here?
That's the takeaway, isn't it? The two paths. Orthodoxy says, this is our home. It's broken, yes, but it's fundamentally good. It's God's creation. And our job is to stay here and fix it, to redeem it.
And Gnosticism says, we are strangers in a strange land. We are exiles. We are trapped in hostile territory. And our job is not to fix the prison. Our job is to escape.
And depending on which day you catch me, depending on the news cycle, both of those can feel incredibly true.
That's the enduring power of it.
So here's a provocative thought to leave you with today. If the Gnostics were right, if the world really is a system, a matrix designed to keep us distracted and asleep, how would you know if you were awake?
And if you found the code, the secret knowledge to get out, would you share it with everyone? Or would you keep it for the elite, the ones who are worthy?
Something to mull over while you look at your hand and wonder if it's real. Check out the deep dive stack for the source materials, the Apocryphon of John, the Bishop Barron video, the Mandaean texts. It's a wild, wild ride.
Indeed it is.
Thanks for listening. Keep digging.
Stay curious.